Good morning. Welcome back to my kitchen. I promised two things. One was a creamed cake, which we're going to make after. It's going to be a banana cream cake, and I'm going to show you how to make pastry cream today. Pastry cream, pie filling, they're all made the same way. On the stove, I have my milk, 500 grams of milk. I have 60 grams of sugar, which I'm putting in the milk, and I'm turning the heat on to bring this to a scald. Oh, I got technical difficulties. Going to another burner. Yeah, sometimes. Okay, so that's going to come to a scald, just under a boil. Then I'm going to take my egg product, which happens to be 2 egg yolks and 1 whole egg. It's done by weights. I'm putting that into a metal bowl, breaking up the egg and the yolks. And then the key part here is to make a smooth mixture that's going to go into the milk product. All right, so now we have corn starch and sugar, which I like to put together, and then sift over the top of the egg mixture. And the reason I like to do that is because I don't want the cornstarch to create any lumps. So I'm going to tap, tap, tap until I get all the cornstarch out. If we go through all that trouble to get this measured out accurately, we want to make sure we use it all. And then I'm going to whisk until I have a nice, smooth mixture. And I got to look over my shoulder here to make sure I'm not boiling. I'm not. So notice we have sugar that goes in 2 stages, and it's always that way. Doesn't matter if it's vanilla pastry cream, chocolate pastry cream. We always put some some sugar in with the milk, and some gets whisked in with the egg product. So you can see takes a bit of work. You want to make sure that you get all the lumps out and it's super smooth, which it is. All right, I'm gonna knock that off and we're heading to the stove. I believe that this is just about scalded. And how can we tell? Because you're honing in and you're gonna see little bubbles around the outside of the mixture. And that indicates that this mixture is ready to be tempered. The key point is now we don't want to scramble those eggs. So we're gonna slowly add this, I'm turning this off so I don't scald myself, into the egg mixture, just a tiny little bit at a time. And I think it probably would have made sense if I had put this bowl on top of a towel, which I didn't, but I'll drizz, 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 whisk, 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 until you add the hot milk to the egg mixture. And this is called tempering. All right, that's enough. We don't need any more. I'm putting this back on the stove, turning the heat on, turning this all back into this pan, scraping it out of this bowl. And now the magic happens. We whisk this pretty rapidly, and this is going to get thick. And one of the key things here is to make sure that the whisk goes into the sides of the pan at the bottom to make sure that it doesn't scorch. This will scorch and burn very easily, so it's really important that you whisk constantly throughout the mixture until this thing comes to a full rolling boil. And it's starting to thicken. I can feel it. We're going to bring this back to a full boil. I imagine you know why, because I think most of you are in Food Prep 1, and when you made your bechamels, if you didn't cook that roux out, what happens? You get a starchy mouthfeel, and we don't want that. So this is thickening, but it hasn't boiled yet. So without making a huge mess, I'm whisking because I want to add air, which I'm doing, and it is starting to boil. And once it boils, you want to give it 10 or 15 seconds to make sure the starchy taste is out. You also can remove it from the stove. Grab yourself a little tasting spoon and just taste it. and this is good. So that's it. That is the filling. How do we finish it? We take whole butter and vanilla. We pour it into the mixture and whisk. Now, this can be turned into chocolate pie filling, coconut pie filling, banana pie filling. If we added a little more egg yolk and some half and half, we would have a really rich and luscious pastry cream. But you can see it's super smooth. If you had a pie crust and you wanted to use it for a pie crust, you could pour it directly into the finished pie shell, the baked pie shell. However, I'm going to cool this, and the way I'm going to cool it is I'm going to put it back in a bowl, actually the same bowl, but I'm going to clean it first, and then I'm going to put a piece of cling film directly over the top. That's pie filling. Okay, so I have transferred the pastry cream or pie filling into the bowl, and I'm going to use a little piece of cling film. You can also use parchment paper or deli paper, but the trick here is not to cover the bowl, but to completely cover the filling. So you want the cling film to come in contact directly with the surface of the filling. And this way, you will not get a skin over the top of this pastry cream. Perfect. Going in.